Gaming is probably the thing that I do the most with my time. It's something that I've done for the entirety of my life up to this point, and it's something that I'm going to do until the day I die. I love playing new video games, I love playing old video games. New games are always coming out that I want to jump into, and I'm also more than happy to play old video games with various release dates because my backlog is infinite and never ending. I love it when I play a new game, to me, that I get so engrossed in and then I can dive into the communities around the game. I consume lots of content, I try to learn as much as possible, watching tons of videos and seeing what other people have to say on the game. Being a part of bigger and smaller communities is a ton of fun, and I very much consider myself part of the gaming community as a whole. I try to stay up to date on new releases and news happening within the space. With that comes the whole slew of YouTube videos I get recommended from creators about gaming as a whole. The gaming community I both love and cringe at. I'm not a squeaky clean saint here either, okay? I got plenty of hot takes and cringe on the internet. DK64 is a great video game, and I will die on that mountain of bananas. I think Gauntlet Dark Legacy is an underrated gem, despite the graphics aging like milk. Twice a year, I like to tune into GDQ and passively partake of the hours of awkward gamer content of speedrunners being awesome. I laugh, I learn, and I'm amazed at how funny and talented people are at speedrunning. I watch tons of video essays on video games, both broad and narrow topics, but there are some that puzzle me. The ones talking about how gaming is dead, or modern gaming sucks, or why gaming isn't fun anymore, or I'm bored with gaming. Things along those lines. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not blissfully unaware of the cardinal sins that modern gaming has graced us with, and I'm also not mad at these types of videos that people make, or else I wouldn't consume the content. I enjoy seeing, reading, and hearing other people's takes on where they are at with video games and their current experiences with the hobby. Right now, it seems very bleak, and it feels like the majority consensus is gaming sucks. Too many modern games come out and they are broken, full of microtransactions, not consumer friendly, too expensive, not creative, soulless cash grabs, the list goes on and on. It sure does feel like I'm off in my own little world when I see tons of videos hating on gaming as a whole, with most of the comments in complete agreement. I couldn't disagree more with where gaming is at as a whole from my perspective. I'm on cloud 9 riding high, eating it all up. I'm gamer fat. I've eaten so much game and I can't stop eating game. When it comes to modern gaming, I have my issues with it all too. Like I said, I'm aware of the negatives with modern gaming. Games released that aren't finished is brutal. $80 is a lot of money for people to drop in one go. People are tired of microtransactions. I've heard it all, and I've spent the last few years mulling it all over in my head to try and figure out just how I feel personally about modern gaming. I think the conclusion I've come to is a little more of a nuanced take with modern gaming, and maybe some other people feel this way too, but I feel like as a whole, I actually like where modern gaming is. Let's start with the pricing and monetization. Developers and companies have to make money or else they won't be able to make video games for people to play. Obviously, everyone understands that and still seem to find fault and complain when companies try to make money, and this confuses me. Microtransactions, especially in free-to-play games, are how they make money. If people don't buy Fortnite skins and battle passes, Fortnite shuts down. Fortnite is free to play for anyone with an internet connection and a console or system to play it on. No $80 price tag, and you don't have to buy skins ever. The best part is, when it comes to in-game cosmetics like this, they aren't pay to win, assuming that skins don't give you some sort of leg up or camo or smaller hitboxes or anything like that, strictly to show off to other gamers in the video game. I'm a fan of this. There's probably tons of players that have jumped into free-to-play games and never spent a cent, because they probably couldn't afford it. And because of microtransactions and whales willing to spend money in Fortnite, those people that couldn't afford to play now can. Yes, not all games have the same microtransactions as Fortnite. I really do believe that Fortnite has done it right by trying to make its game as accessible as humanly possible to as many players as possible, and they couldn't have done that without microtransactions. Well, what's an alternative to microtransactions? We could just charge money for the game like we've done in the past. Brand new games for the longest time were $60. Then they became $70 and very quickly are now shifting to $80. Gamers are irritated about price points too, and once again, I understand the issues. $80 is a lot to spend on Mario Kart, especially when I've got 3 other Mario Karts on my shelf. If I could have every new AAA video game that gets released forever at $60, of course I would want that. I would spend less money. But what would I rather have? A game riddled with microtransactions or pay $70 or $80 for a game? What should a new video game cost? People were so big mad when Borderlands was rumored to be $80, and then it got announced that it was going to be $70, and people were like, oh, okay, that's fine. Literally, as I'm making this video, chalk another one up for modern gaming, because apparently Take-Two and 2K Games rolled out an update terms of service across their platforms, and gamers are pissed. So what's in these new terms? Well, right here. The right to remove or restrict access to user content at their sole discretion, a ban on most forms of modding, even for single-player games, expanded data collection policies, including the right to share user data with business partners, mandatory arbitration clauses, several limiting players' ability to take legal action, crackdowns on players who exploit glitches, even harmless ones, and harsh penalties for modding activities. So a lot of people are deleting Borderlands and other 2K games, which, like Rockstar games are on there too. Let's do a list of games owned by Take-Two. Oh god. Alright, we've got BioShock, Borderlands, the Grand Theft Auto series, Mafia, Civilization, NBA 2K, Max Payne, Red Dead, Yikers. Borderlands is getting review bombed to high hell on Steam. Yeah, anyway, so people are pissed, and yeah, I'm over here trying to defend modern gaming, and then whoops. Where microtransactions get tough for me personally is when that is on top of you paying full price for the game. I'm not talking about DLCs, I'm talking about buying a game for $60, and then there are still in-game purchases that you can buy. You don't have to, but you can. Dude, I paid $60 for this. You couldn't let me have those in-game cosmetics or characters, or at least given me a way to unlock them without grinding for 70 hours? Honestly, the more I've thought about microtransactions versus full price, I like them both. I like being able to try out all these new free-to-play games with my friends with no buy-in or investment other than time. I'm more willing to try out new games because I won't feel like I wasted money if I don't enjoy it. I also like buying a game straight up and having it microtransaction free. What do you think though? What is your preferred method of video game monetization? Some companies charge a monthly subscription to play their games. Others release new massive campaign updates every few months or years that you can purchase and keep playing their game that way. When it comes to new video game release prices, I get it. It's a lot easier to spend $80 over time than it is to come up with $80 and drop it in one go. Honestly, that's probably the average gamer right there. Now I want to point you in the direction of my preferred method of video game monetization, which seems very unsustainable, and I have no idea how companies are even doing it, and that is the Netflix subscription model. Xbox Game Pass to me is the very best gaming deal out there, and I've been using it personally since when it was only $10 a month. Anyone that is just getting into gaming and has no idea what to do or where to start, I always point them in the direction of Xbox Game Pass. It has such a small buy-in and gives you the absolute bang for your buck. You can get a Series S used on eBay for somewhere in the ballpark of $200 to $230, and then $15 a month for Game Pass. Then you are granted access to an ungodly amount of video games and will never ever run out of content to play. The best part is games come and go, and Xbox has a ton of new releases that are on Game Pass, day one, or at some point could get put on. You don't have to worry about spending $60 to $80 on a game you might not like. You can download whatever you want, whenever you want, and play however much you want. At least until it gets taken off the service or you stop paying for it. I have tried more video games since having Game Pass than I had my entire life up to that point. Okay, in Game Pass, we've got A Way Out. That's a 2-player game that's a ton of fun. You got Another Crab's Treasure, which is a Souls-like game. You've got Ark, which Ark is a humongous game. Army of Two. You've got 3 different Assassin's Creed games to choose from. You've got Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. You've got all the Banjo-Kazooie games. 6 Battlefield games to choose from. You've got Blueprints, which is a banger game. It came out this year. You have the new Call of Duty games that get released on here. You've got Clair Obscur, which is a game that came out this year, Expedition 33, and I heard it's incredible. I want to get to this one. 5 Crash Bandicoot games. You've got the Insane Trilogy, which is 1, 2, and 3, and then you've got number 4 on here. all 3 Dead Space games. You have all the Doom games, all 3 Fables. You have a bunch of Fallouts and a bunch of Far Cry games that are on here. You've got Gears of War on here. You got Gang Beasts. Every single Halo game on here. You have Minecraft. You could spend thousands of hours on Minecraft alone. And if you're gonna do that, just buy Minecraft. Don't pay for Game Pass. Yeah, I don't know. It is just insane the amount of content that they have on Xbox Game Pass. It literally blows my mind. How are they making money? The subscription model is my favorite method, especially since modern gaming is moving towards gamers not even owning their games anymore. Well, if that's the case, I don't want to spend the owning video game price for a game that I don't own. Honestly, if every gaming company had the Netflix subscription method, I would do it. Nintendo has the Switch Online stuff with tons of old video games on there to play, and their subscription fee is minuscule compared to Game Pass. However, I would love if Nintendo did the Game Pass method with all of their new games and their Switch library. It's probably never gonna happen, but a boy can wish. PlayStation Plus has tons of games on their service too. It's like renting video games but the modern day version, which is way better than how us old fogies had to do it back in the early 2000s. Our parents paid the Hollywood Video fee every month that allowed us to rent 1 or 2 games at a time, but you only had a week or so before you had to re-rent it. Now, with Game Pass and all the adjacents, I'm not limited to how many games I can download and play in any given time period, and there isn't a week-long time period crunch. Games come and go, so pay attention to that, and if you really like a game you tried out, buy it. Game Pass is $240 a year. The amount of games I've played on it, new and old, pays for that. Plus, Call of Duty is now released on Game Pass for all the gamer bros. If $80 is going to be the new standard price for games, you play one of those and bam, you've already paid for a third of Game Pass. I can only do so much glazing here, okay? Xbox, sponsor me, please. There are still so many methods to get you around the expensive price point, like not playing games day one. Steam has so many sales all the freaking time, so much so that anyone who has a Steam account has spent tons of money for so many games that they haven't even played yet. But the price was so cheap, you'd be losing money if you didn't buy it. If you wait for a game to be out for a few years, you can usually find a cheap copy on eBay. I don't know how many times I've wanted to play a game, especially Nintendo games because they never go on sale, that I go find a cheap copy on eBay and I purchase it. We're talking like half the cost or less than half the cost of retail. You can find games at thrift stores, at yard sales. You could talk to friends and see if you can borrow their games. There are so many YouTube videos about gaming on a budget where people walk you through what they think is the best bang for your buck. You can buy a Wii and Wii games for really cheap. Original Xboxes are around $100 and games for that are cheap. PS2s are like $70 to $80 used, and there are so many video games on that system, plus they are backwards compatible with PS1. The truth of the matter is, yes, modern gaming is expensive, and a lot of people are speculating that there might be a video game crash sometime soon. I don't want that, and I think most people would not want that because that means people are going to be losing jobs, and we probably won't get the games that we want. This is where I think indie games have really been able to step up and shine. Good and creative video games have been made at a much cheaper price, therefore being sold at a much cheaper price. Restrictions breed creativity, especially financial restrictions. Balatro, $15. Schedule 1, $20. Animal Well, $25. Deltarune, $25. Hades 2, $30. Plucky the Squire, $30. Nine Souls, $30. Blue Prince, $30. And those are just counting newer games. Hollow Knight is $15, and I got 30 great hours out of that game, and that's not even including the free DLC. Older games are even more accessible now thanks to the big E word that no one likes talking about, emulation. Keyword, older games, not brand new Switch games that you pirate. I'm not the moral police here, just be a good person. If I can, I like to support creators of things that I really enjoy, especially video games, and if there's a nice, easy, convenient way for me to play the game, I will. Xbox is pretty good about allowing me to play older games, and Nintendo does a alright job as well, but they don't have everything. Like for example, if you want to play Gauntlet Dark Legacy, you are going to spend $30 minimum to play a physical copy. GameCube is over $100 for a copy. I ain't paying that for a 20-year-old game no matter how much I love it. Once again, if there was a convenient way to play these older games on a service or being able to buy a cheap digital copy, I would. But sometimes there just isn't an alternative, so emulation is great for these types of situations, assuming you have a way to do so via a computer, or if you're smart, you can hack a system. I prefer more legit methods because emulation isn't always the greatest, but it's better than paying hundreds of dollars to play older video games you've heard so much about. The other points that I kind of wanted to talk about is I've heard gamers say that there isn't anything to play or gaming isn't fun anymore. This one baffles me. I can't find the time to play every single game I want to play because there is just simply too much to play out there, and I will die before I get to all of it. Not to mention new bangers are getting released every single year. Everyone has a backlog that is growing and is full of games. I look at my mountain and get excitedly overwhelmed by it. I feel like I've committed some gaming no-nos because of how many staples I have still yet to play. Strap in for this. I've never played an Assassin's Creed game. I've never played Final Fantasy VII or any Final Fantasy game for that matter. I've never played Metal Gear. I haven't played any Nier games. Never played Chrono Trigger or Earthbound. I haven't played more than a few hours of a Fallout game. Never played Quake or Half-Life. Never played Far Cry or Mass Effect. Never played KOTOR or Dragon Age. I've never played Fable or World of Warcraft. I've never played a Castlevania game or a 2D Metroid game. I've never played Mega Man or any Sims games. I've never played Shadow of the Colossus or Eco. I've never played Crysis or Dishonored. I've never played a God of War game or Uncharted or Tomb Raider. The first legit Pokemon game I beat was Let's Go Eevee on the Switch just a few years ago, so I've never played any of the older games, not a single one. I've never played Animal Crossing. I never played Club Penguin either. I never played Toontown. I never played StarCraft. I've never played Age of the Empires. I've never played a Civilization game. I've never played a tycoon type game where you build things. I want to get to all of these games someday. So many experiences that I've heard people talk about over the years, whether in my daily life or on the internet. I've played games that have had lasting effects on me, and I want to get more of that out of my hobby. So when I hear people say they can't find things to play, it's really quite surprising. Get on YouTube and watch a few different videos about games you should play before you die, or people's top 10 video games of all time. There ain't no way you've played all the gaming bangers you will find. A good video to get some ideas is 101 video games that everyone should play at least once by Triple Jump. Make a backlog of games you want to play and play them. When people say that video games aren't fun anymore, I feel like that's just a you thing at that point. What kind of games are you playing? If you just play Overwatch and Fortnite, you're probably not having fun. Although Fortnite is now kind of a forever game with so many games built in, you gotta spice up the variety of games you play. You can't just play the same genre over and over again and expect to stay engaged and not get bored or burnt out. I've had friends that are on that Destiny 2 grind and have been for years. They treat that game like it's their full-time job, clocking in and grinding away. Why? If you're not having fun with something, stop playing and try a different game. Another answer is probably take a break from gaming and just go outside and touch grass. Too much of anything is too much, and I've definitely experienced that in my own life. If you take breaks from things you really enjoy, it can then reignite your passion for whatever said thing is. I'm a consumer. I like to consume things, especially entertainment. I go through phases of things I enjoy most where I'll be super into one thing, while the others I'll consume more passively until I get the hunger for another thing. This year I was super into Game of Thrones and watched the entirety of it in like 3 months. I could not stop watching. Some nights I would watch 3 or 4 episodes. It was bad. But after I finished the series, I did not want to watch another TV show ever. I took a break from TV shows and jumped back into video games. I'll take breaks from games and get into reading books or manga, and then I'll cycle into anime and eventually back to TV shows. These are the things I like, and when I'm in the mood for whatever it is, I'm in the mood for whatever it is. It keeps my entertainment fresh and I don't get burnt out. It's also good to just take a break from screens as well. I mean, me personally, I'm plugged into something all the freaking time, so when I do take a break, it's good for my eyeballs and my brain. One night last month, I got together with some buddies, and we just sat around the campfire and ate burgers and roasted marshmallows and just chatted for 6 hours, and it flew by. Playing video games is not hard. Finding games to play is not hard. Sometimes gamers make playing video games seem like a chore and are draining. I've never felt that way. Gaming has been nothing short of an amazing hobby and a privilege I have. I understand that everyone is different, with different circumstances, and I also know that in the year 2025, gaming has never been more accessible and fun. We have 50 years of gaming bangers that we can play and experience for ourselves. So what are you waiting for? Get out there and play some games. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is kind of a video topic I've been thinking about a lot recently, just my own thoughts on it and kind of where I'm at with video games as a whole. It's a hobby that I love and I want it to succeed. So I don't know, let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comments section. Let me know how you feel about modern gaming, and maybe you're like me, like you're off in your own little world just sucking it all up and you just love it. You're loving video games, because that's where I'm at right now. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it rad.